Story 1. Microsoft Flight Simulator a few months after release. It is basically filled with commercial pilots and enthusiasts. I am an armchair enthusiast, but if I have a question on flying, it gets answered quickly. Story 2. Mystery Science Theater 3000 and RiffTrax fanbase is the coolest. The rebuttal whenever people try and get toxic and bring up negative nonsense is, repeat to yourself it's just a show, you should really just relax. It's literally in the Mystery Science Theater 3000 theme song. Story 3. When the book One Day by David Nichols was new, fans would approach people reading it, even on UK public transport, the tube for heaven's sake, and say how great they thought it was, and has it happened yet? Or have you got to the thing yet? But no one spoiled it. Nobody ever said what the thing was or what happened. They let you read it. Once I finished the book, I was the same. Story 4. In my experience, metal fans look terrifying but are often the coolest, down-to-earth people possible. They are always super chill and funny. I like to imagine them being similar to large dogs who look scary but are often the sweetest pups you will ever meet. Story 5. Metal fans sometimes experience a pretty crazy divide between the most laid-back people and those who will criticize you for listening to Slipknot or similar bands. Story 6. While there are certainly people within the fan base that are problematic, on the whole, I find the Star Trek fandom very warm and affirming. They are people who want to believe in a utopia built on mutual acceptance and understanding, and the core of the community is welcoming and invariably kind. Story 7. Diorama builders. Tons of advice and support for newbies, whatever style or genre you are into, and all the top-level crafters I have come across are very chill and humble. Story 8. I went to a Swedish death metal concert about 20 years ago. The most polite crowd I've ever been crammed into. Even the mosh pit was friendly. Lots of "bro, are you okay? Nice." Story 9. Not a fan base by most standards, but the competitive shooting world is so welcoming and helpful it's ridiculous. The professionals will just sit and chat with anyone at an event, and most local clubs are super friendly. Story 10. Final Fantasy XIV fanbase seems unrealistically chill when compared to the fanbase of any other massively multiplayer online role-playing game. I say this from experience as an old veteran massively multiplayer online role-playing game player and a very new Final Fantasy XIV player. The community is chill. Story 11. Lord of the Rings Tolkien fans, whether it's the movie fans or the book fans, in my experience, they're a more mature fan base and the majority are pretty chill. Story 12. I have nothing but good things to say about Toastmasters. I have yet to encounter anyone with an agenda other than supporting the self-improvement of themselves and others. I have competed in multiple contests, and the performance everyone wants to talk about afterwards is everybody else's but their own. Story 13. Among sports, Packers fans. The team is obviously disliked by our division rivals. However, if fans of those teams attend games, the worst they will get is some good-natured joking. Fans of other opponents can show up early to games and get invited to pretty much any tailgate party with strangers. They will feed you and give you beer for free and treat you as if you were a lifelong friend. I tell this story often, but I was at a game at Lambeau Field against the Raiders. We blew them out like 38-7. There was a Raiders fan sitting directly in front of me, and early in the game, he had people stopping to do some light trash talking. Even then, they would say it was nice meeting him or that they hope he enjoys his time there. Late in the game, when the Raiders were getting blown out, the guy had a constant stream of people stopping by with free beer for him and wishing the best for the Raiders in the future. And this is a common tale. Whether in Green Bay or at local Packers bars, reports from international cities where we have played are that our fans have all been amazingly nice but ridiculously heavy drinkers. Story 14. Rocky Horror Picture Show fans. We were the weird, queer outcasts in school with our handmade costumes and love for shouting lines that make everyone laugh, especially when they are interactive. And our celebrities even love and interact with us. I get likes from Lady Stevens, also known as Magenta, on my social media regularly, and she is so sweet when meeting fans. With few exceptions, Rocky Horror Picture Show unconventional conventionists are a very supportive crowd. Story 15. I was at a GalaxyCon last summer. My first one, and wow, everyone was so wonderful and supportive. I had a Zelda shirt on and got so many compliments. People stopping people for pictures. Hey, how did you make that? That's so cool. Comments every day. It was so nice to be a part of. Story 16. Not really a fan base, but the subreddit for people with an incurable autoimmune disease. They are very down-to-earth and direct with life and information, and I appreciate them immensely. Story 17. They can seem insufferable from the outside looking in, but when you are among them, fish fans are the greatest. Like any group of people, a few loud troublemakers get a lot of notoriety, but the typical fan is super friendly and easygoing. Story 18. Joe Para Talks With You crowd is absolutely the best group of people I have ever been a part of. Everyone is supportive and enjoys the small stuff in life. Story 19. Gajira is a French metal band whose entire discography consistently receives a 4 out of 5-star rating per album. They are universally acclaimed as probably the best metal band of the 2000s. Their music focuses on environmentalism, mindfulness, and deep thinking. Their live performances are legendary, and they are hands down the most humble, down-to-earth, and nicest people you will ever meet, with no ego whatsoever. Additionally, they performed at the 2024 Summer Olympics opening ceremony with the French Revolution anthem, Mea culpa, ça ira. Story 20. They have had an off moment here and there, but overall I have found the Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan base to be pretty chill and friendly. The Brandon Sanderson fandom is really good too. I just hope it stays that way whenever movies inevitably get made. Story 21. The Cure. We're all pretty chill. You can bring your baby bats if you like. We're going to be drinking, but we're happy to make snacks and punch for the kids. Story 22. Classic PlayStation 2 game fanbases are usually pretty good. Ratchet and Clank, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, etc. Mostly because they just focus on the games and not the nonsense that ruins fandoms like original characters, shipping, and especially headcanons. Story 23. Miata fanbase. No matter how badly you mess up your car with poor modifications, or crash it into a tree, or do something embarrassing, they are still supportive of everyone. Story 24. Gothic Americana. The fan base is ridiculously small, and so the content creators are few and far between. Whether it be music, photography, or books, any releases in this genre are seemingly notable. Everyone I know who has an interest in this genre is very cool. My theory is that because it's such a niche thing, there is no money to be made. If money is being made, then the scene grows, more people start to show up, and inevitably folks with insincere intent hitch a ride with those who are cool, just like any other parasite. From the parasites, you get your scene police and gatekeepers. Story 25. Dark Souls is still one of the best overall gaming communities, except during major releases when all of the morons, unpleasant people, and complainers flood in. The actual hardcore players are usually really cool and helpful, and there is not a lot of complaining about the game. People love to help the newcomers, and there is a sense of genuine camaraderie among responses whenever someone triumphantly posts about beating their first Souls game. Story 26. Signalis equal parts live rent-free in your head and make you want sunshine and rainbows as a detox after playing, and that leads to a unique fanbase. Also, RimWorld, because of course, a game where the Geneva Convention is often used as a checklist would have a nice and helpful community. Story 27. In general, fan bases of certain electronic music artists are the coolest. For instance, Underworld fans, Spundle fans, Future Sound of London fans, Ladytron fans, Kraftwerk fans, Vangelis fans, etc. Chill people with a real passion for music but without being rude. Story 28. Not as big as it once was, but the Stargate SG-1 community, most of 1990s Star Trek and VeggieTales. I'm not religious anymore, but I will absolutely defend VeggieTales to the death. Story 29. Supernatural virtual reality. It is a wide variety of people who somehow all seem to be nice to each other. I think the trainers' attitudes wear off on the rest of us. Story 30. Everyone over in the Cosmere subreddit is super nice and helpful, and extremely respectful of spoilers. I don't know another fan base that protects its members from spoilers so vigorously. Story 31. Kind of an obscure one, the Knowledge Fight podcast fans. I've never had a bad interaction, and that includes online and attending a live show. Lots of caring and support in the community. Story 32. The fans of any perennially terrible sports franchise. The Detroit Tigers' online fan base between the invention of the internet in 2006 was the coolest, funniest, nicest, and most diverse bunch of Michiganders and expatriates you could ever imagine. Then we got good for a couple of years and the trolls came out. Story 33. Reddit drums has been the widest variety of people who are full of excitement about everything drums. Someone legitimately posted a picture of cardboard drums. Not sure if they were trolling, but everyone was just like, this rules. Story 34. By video game fanbase standards, Kirby fans have always seemed pretty chill to me. Well, except for the lore enthusiasts. But even then, they aren't toxic, just extremely dedicated. Story 35. I may be biased as a metalhead, but I think we have a fantastic fan base. I was briefly seeing this girl a year ago, and she mentioned about metal guys. You all are respectful as hell, and you always have good conditioner in the shower. We've come a long way from the Beavis and Butthead heavy metal parking lot stereotype. Go to an Iron Maiden show nowadays, and you'll find more master's degrees than airheads. Story 36. Gel's Marble Runs and the Marble League got pretty popular during COVID-19, but haven't gained many followers since. The fans are really passionate and love their teams and respect most of the others. Story 37. Schitt's Creek's fan base also seems pretty cool. It's kind of hard to be a fan of a show that takes people who lost everything and then found their humanity and love for each other and their neighbors and be unpleasant. Story 38. I mean, there are a lot out there. I never encountered them myself, but I think all of them have a toxic place. And the only ones I see that I have a good time in are Ninjago and Lego. Story 39. Deep Rock Galactic is my favorite online game, and there isn't a close second. In my first online game, 3 other dwarves and I set out into a cave to mine. We finished the mission, and the other 3 started making their way out. I got completely lost and fell behind. They could have easily left and received full credit and rewards for the mission with no problem. One of them hopped on communications and asked, "Hey, blast off, are you going to make it out?" I said no as I was lost. All 3 yelled, "No dwarf left behind," and for Carl. Then proceeded to abandon the whole run to try to find my lost dwarf self. They found me with 30 seconds to spare, and we all died in the mine. Then I heard, "That was fun, want to go again?" And the group invited me to join them for the next run. Absolute best community. Thank you, Deep Rock Galactic players. Story 40. The Gundam Gunpla groups and model building groups in general have been pretty accepting. The most toxic group I've ever seen was, surprisingly, a sourdough group on Facebook. Story 41. Warframe fanbase has been pretty solid in my opinion. I saw tons of people gifting random items from the store to other players. Also, they are super helpful whenever I have a dumb question. Story 42. The Animal Crossing fanbase is pretty nice. During the peak of New Horizons, there would be hundreds of people offering bells and fruits for free, or giving you rare furniture for just the money it cost them to purchase it. Story 43. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Everyone is super chill, and all of the characters have good and bad qualities, but none are held accountable because of it. There are often discussions or healthy debates about certain things fans disagree with, but it never gets toxic and all opinions are accepted. Honestly, if you just shout 99 or Boone, you'll find us and make new friends instantly. Story 44. The James Bond fanbase is full of polite, sweet people who love encouraging each other to enjoy the films and dive into the fascinating history of the franchise. They celebrate the films as a rare and thrilling 60-plus year time capsule of fashion, travel, geopolitics, technology, cars, stunts, music, and more. They are honest about the ugly parts of the franchise, namely racism, sexism, and queerphobia, that both we and the films have since evolved past, and use the older films as healthy conversation starters for changing cultural norms and pop culture standards. It is a lovely community. Story 45. I haven't encountered a nicer subreddit since ever. Nothing unites gamers more than a Hideo Kojima game about trekking across arduous terrain, where a rope or a ladder left by another player made your journey that much easier. When I tell you this community is nice, I mean it. Death Stranding has an online part, but it's unconventional. Basically, data from players alters the environment, creating paths. Players can even leave behind equipment like a rope or a ladder that a player used to get over something, and that ladder or rope stays there for another player to use. It gives this idea that we are all struggling together, and by doing these small things we will accomplish our goals, even though we will never see each other. Gaming is no stranger to toxicity, but the fact that the Death Stranding community remains one of the nicest communities out there is nothing short of amazing. People are actually nice in this subreddit. Story 46. I have a couple of friends in the furry community, and every furry I have met at conventions has been insanely chill. I don't know if they count as a fan base, but it seems the community as a whole is incredibly laid back. Story 47. Honestly, I don't know if they count as a fan base, but Gym Brothers are cool as can be. I'm a fat, out-of-shape dude, and they help me anytime I'm doing something wrong or confused. Story 48. Bohabs or Gwar fans will fight and argue and talk insane levels of trash to each other. But at the end of the day, we all just love our alien lords and masters. Being at Dave Brocky's public memorial service, surrounded by hundreds of other people wanting to show their respect, and just seeing a sea of punks, metalheads, goths, skinheads, and others openly weeping and consoling each other was something special.